choose out the path for me. Smooth let it be or rough, it will be still a best. Winding or straight it leads, right onward to thy rest. I dare not choose my lot, I would not if I might. Choose thou for me, my God, so shall I walk aright. The kingdom that I seek is thine, so let the way that leads to it be thine, else I must surely stray. Take thou my cup and it with joy or sorrow fill, as best to thee may seem. Choose thou my good and ill. Choose thou for me, my friends, my sickness or my health. Choose thou my cares for me.
Constable! Constable, this way! Quickly, quickly!
Just look at them.
Yeah, a woman's work is never done.
You're wasting your time, miss.
Let's wait and see, shall we?
Let's wait for what?
Well, you'll be surprised. Things are going to change around here.
Don't you believe it?
We've all been persecuted long enough.
Persecuted? What do you mean, persecuted? What's she talking about?
We want to help you if we can, and we know you can help us.
Ha, that'll be the day.
We don't want your help, darling. We can live without it.
Oh, that's what you think.
Yeah.
We're working for everyone, you see, not just for ourselves.
Oh, fancy that. Would you believe it?
Yes, you must believe it. It's your only chance.
Don't half go on, don't they?
It's your only hope for a better future for you and your children.
Why don't you push off out of it and leave us alone?
Just come and see what we're doing. That's all we ask.
Get back where you belong.
I belong here. We're going to work here and fight. Please help us.
We don't want anything to do with you, see? We want nothing to do with you.
That's right. So clear off out of it. And fast.
When a felon's not engaged in his employment, or maturing his felonious little plans, his propensity for innocent enjoyment, is just as great as any honest man's. Our feelings we with difficulty smother, when constabulary duties to be done. Take one consideration with another. A policeman's lot is not a happy one.
It's very full. So much the better. Yes.
Madame?
Two, please. What's on the menu?
What?
The menu.
I'm not very hungry.
Oh, nonsense. Of course you are. It's lunchtime.
I can never eat when I'm nervous.
Then you will have to force yourself, Polly Dick. You mustn't look conspicuous.
No.
Come along, there's a good girl. Read me the menu.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Everyone's nervous at the beginning. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yes.
The menu.
Well, now there's soup. Julienne, oxtail, soup of the day.
Oh, Julian, I think.
And then cutlets for fawn, mutton chops, veal italienne, fricassee of chicken with mushrooms, rump steak, cold joint with potatoes and pickles.
The fricassee of chicken sounds nice. What shall you have?
Yes, the same, I think.
Good. Waiter.
Yes, madame.
2 julienne soups, please, and 2 fricassee of chicken.
Very good, madame. Thank you.
Where do you live, Polly Dick?
In Bloomsbury, Great Russell Street.
With your parents?
No, in a flat.
Oh, how very independent. Are many of your friends in the movement?
Oh, no. Some of them are frightfully anti. I daren't breathe a word.
You'll have to one of these days.
I know. But I keep putting it off. Like going to the dentist.
How did you come to join us, then?
Well, by accident, almost. I was walking down Kingsway, and there was this boy, you see, giving out pamphlets. Well, everybody was shouting at him and trying to push his barrow over. It was really rather awful. So I went to help. I can't think why I did. I'm not usually very brave. Can't think why I didn't just run away.
I'm glad you didn't.
So am I. Anyway, the boy was Harry Pankhurst, and he took me to Clements Inn. Before I knew where I was working for Mrs. Pengaskell in Kilburn.
And now you're a militant.
Yes. Well, almost.
Good for you, my dear.
What'll happen, do you think? Will they call the police?
Well, that depends.
On what?
Your soup, madame.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, it's very nice. Come along.
I can't.
You must. The waiters are watching us.
Oh, Alice, I can't. I'm sorry. I'll be sick.
All right, then. Do it now.
Now?
Your turn first. Do it now, Polly Dick.
Fellow citizens, why do you allow women to be tortured in our prisons?
It's those
Run,
guys!
vote for women! Now! Vote for women! You're gonna have to
This seems to be broken.
It only needs a nail. Where are they?
Oh, they're all gone.
Oh, well, we'll have to get some more tomorrow.
I do hope it's going to work, Sylvia.
What?
Well, this. A great scheme. The likes of us in the wicked East End.
Why shouldn't it work?
They don't like us very much.
They don't know us.
They think we're middle class and privileged.
And so we are.
And the Trades Council people don't like us either.
Well, we must make them change their minds. We can't afford to fail, Zelly. It's my fault we're here. After all, I'm the one who nagged HQ.
You're quite right, too.
Yes, I think so. Where did you put the rest of the pamphlets?
Oh, they're in that cupboard.
We've got to persuade them that it's votes for women, not just votes for ladies.
It's not going to be easy.
I never thought it would be. Everything depends on our success, Zelly. We can't hope to make any real headway until we've got some sort of mass support.
Don't think Christabel would agree.
Maybe not. Well, she might. If the East End women join us, then thousands will follow. They're bound to, millions.
Yeah, and if they don't?
They must. It's their only chance. And what else is there? Poverty, hardship, nothing but work and drudgery day after day. Once they've got the vote, they can start fighting for something better.
Yes, but you see, there aren't many people who are prepared to fight. That's the trouble.
There aren't many people who are prepared to do anything.
Well, they're good shots. I'll give them that. It was fish heads this afternoon. Fish heads and pellets of lavatory paper.
It's a foreign land, Zelly. A place we know nothing about.
I just wish I wasn't afraid of them.
I am, too. They resent us, I suppose. And who can blame them? They haven't got time to play the game. They're too busy struggling to live. That's why we're afraid of them. There's no pretense, no social gloss. Just toughness and resentment.
Yeah, they're tough, all right.
They have to be. I was talking to a girl this morning. She washes up in a city restaurant for 7 shillings a week. Threepence goes to the insurance, and she pays 6 shillings for a basement room with no sunlight whatsoever. People shouldn't live like that.
Well, we can't work miracles, Sylvia.
No, but they could. They could if they wanted
Hardly.
to. The country depends on these people. Our wealth is built on their hardship. If only they'd use the power they've got.
It's votes for women we're after, not some sort of social revolution.
We're after both, I hope. I am, anyway. Oh, we'd better lock up. It's getting late.
Right. Oh, listen, what should I do with this one?
Oh, dump it in the yard. The wood will come in handy.
Oh, what about that broken window?
The man said he'd come tomorrow.
Oh, let's hope he does. It's like an iceberg in here.
Not closed, are you?
Closed?
Well, I thought I'd pop in and see what you're up to. Not too late, is it?
Oh, no. No, please come in.
Oh, thanks. Oh, you've had it done up.
Yes, we did it ourselves.
Oh, don't half look better. Talk about a scruffy hole. Used to be a bakery.
Yes, I know.
Never seen so many rats. Big as rabbits, some of them. The rats in here, real whoppers.
This lady wants to know what we're up to.
Name's Walker, by the way, Mrs. Walker.
How do you do? I'm Sylvia Pankhurst.
Yeah, they told me.
And this is Zellie Emerson.
How do you do?
Pleased to meet you. Right then, what's it all about?
Well, we're trying to organize an East End branch of the suffragette movement.
Oh, and there's so much work to be done. We're going to need an awful lot of help.
Sooner you than me, that's a fact. They don't take kindly to speechifying around here.
Oh, it's more than just speeches, Mrs. Walker. We want to get things changed. First the vote, then better wages, better housing, a better way of life for everyone.
One of the girls told me about you. Said she'd been in Holloway. Said you'd done a lot of good.
Well, we tried.
Yeah. Well, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be bloody hard.
Yes, I expect it is.
Reckon you can do it?
Well, I think we can cope.
Know much about it, do you? What it's like around here?
No, not much.
Well, that's why we need help.
What sort of help?
Local people, local women.
How much are you paying?
Paying?
Well, that depends. Would you be prepared to help us, Mrs. Walker?
Well, I might. I got a good job, though. Barmaid down the King's Arms. That pays well, that does.
I'll pay you the same to work for us.
Sylvia, for heaven's sake.
Well, what do you say?
Oh, where's the money coming from?
I said I'll pay. Well, Mrs. Walker, it'll be hard work, but I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I come here. Oh, I can't start till Monday. Is that all right? I've got to give a week's notice.
Yes, that's fine.
Tell me, Mrs. Walker, did you come here looking for a job?
I come here to help, that's all. I can't do it for nothing, though, can I? Don't forget, Melvina Walker, that's the name. See you on Monday.
Sylvia, you can't afford to pay her.
I can't afford not to.
Well, I got back from Paris about 3 hours ago, and I'm happy to tell you Christabel is well and she's full of fight. Although she dearly wishes to be here with us, it's essential that she commands from a safe distance, as I'm sure you all understand. Now, we had a long talk, and she asked me to tell you how very pleased and proud of you she is. But, ladies, we must redouble our efforts, fight even harder.
Yes. Of course.
Yes. Now, the most important task ahead of us is to continue our campaign of militancy. In the past few months, thousands of pounds worth of damage has been done to some of our leading West End stores.
Well,
Marshall and Snellgrove, Liberty, Swan and Edgar, Hope Brothers and Fullers, they've all had their windows broken. And this action must be continued.
Of course.
Now, as before, you will be told of secret rendezvous where you will be issued with hammers and bags of flints. As you know, sentences for window breaking range from 7 days to 2 months. Sentences for arson are, of course, even more severe. But this action must be increased.
Yes. Right.
Yes. Now, some of you have come along with your own ideas, all of which are very welcome. One is to give false fire alarms. Another is to damage the contents of pillar boxes using jam or tar. Red ochre, phosphorus, permanganate of potash and varnish can all be used. Oh, and remember, you can keep MPs aware of our existence by continuing to send them envelopes filled with pepper. Some days I'm told you can hear them sneezing up and down Whitehall. Whatever you do it with courage and conviction. And keep this in mind. We must never endanger life. Alley cat, cabinet minister, cart horse or policeman. Property is our target. You strike at their property, you strike hard. Victory is in sight. Votes for women now.
the points raised in your final paragraph, comma, I feel bound to tell you that your hopes are ill-founded, full stop. As far as I know, the government has no intention of... Achoo! Achoo!
You're one of them suffragettes, ain't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Plenty of them in here. Keeps the screws busy. I'm all for it.
Quiet! Stop talking!
First time, is it?
Yes.
Second home to me, this place. Been inside more times than I've had hot dinners. Still, could be worse. Oh, Sarah looks after things for me. Fit canary, you know. I'd be lost without old Sarah.
How long are you here for?
18 months. Thieving. Can't stop it somehow. Temptation's always there, isn't it? Got some of your lot on hunger strike. What's her name? Emily.
Emily.
Emily. Oh, what is it? Davison. That's it. Real tough nut, she is. Got a look in her eye. See what I mean?
Legion, I'm going to feed you. It can't.
She's pushed the beds against the door.
Let me see. Who is it?
Davison, sir.
Davison! Get off those beds! Do as you're told, woman, and open the door! All right, we leave her. She'll soon get tired of that game.
Thy way, not mine, O Lord, however dark it be. Lead me by thine own hand, choose out the path for me.
She hasn't moved, sir.
Very well. Get that door open.
Sorry, sir. It can't be done.
Davison, if you don't open the door, we shall turn the hose pipe on you.
All right, she's had a fair warning. You know what to do.
Yes, sir.
Last chance, Davison.
Right. Stop. No more. No more. Stop!
We'll have to break the door down, sir.
How can we? It'll fall on top of them.
Well, not if we catch it first.
Well, it's her own fault anyway.
Right, lads. Where's that crowbar? You ought to be horsewhipped for this.
Can I help you?
Miss Pankhurst,
Yes.
I'm Maisie Dunn.
Maisie Dunn?
I left a message. Oh, perhaps I didn't tell you. I'd better go.
Oh, no. Please come in. Please.
Just for a minute, then.
I'm sorry I didn't get your message.
It's not important.
I'd been out all day. You see, they must have forgotten.
Yes. I saw you in Holloway. Don't suppose you remember.
When was that?
10 months ago. About that. We all thought you was, well, brave. You know, what you did.
Thank you.
I wouldn't have done it, and that's a fact. Wouldn't have had the nerve. They had me in for begging. I told them I was selling bootlaces, but they put me inside all the same. Saw you on Monday down the Bow Road, making a speech. Recognised you straight off.
Do you want to join our movement?
Your movement? What? This? No. No, of course not. I just thought I'd come and see you, that's all. Come and say hello, that's all.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Only if there's some going.
We've always got the kettle on the boil. Do you live near here, Maisie?
Just round the corner, down by the hospital.
Are you married?
Yeah, 3 kiddies.
You're very young to have 3 children.
I'm 21.
What does your husband do?
He's ill, see? That's why I have to work. He hurt his back down the docks.
Well, I'm sorry you don't want to join us. We're looking for new recruits.
No, miss, not me.
Why not? Doesn't it interest you?
Not much.
Why's that?
I'm not the type.
You're a woman. Perhaps if I gave you some of our pamphlets.
No, thanks.
But I'd like to.
Can't read, can I?
Well, let me explain.
It wouldn't do no good.
It might.
Honest, it wouldn't.
But we can help you.
Help? I didn't come here for no charity.
Help you to help yourself. That's what our movement's all about.
Kettle's boiling.
Lots of people people are joining us, you know.
Can't say I've seen many.
Well, it's early days yet. You're just the sort of person we're looking for. We want young people with minds of their own. People who aren't afraid of responsibility.
What makes you think I'm like that?
Well, you look after your children and provide for them when your husband's not working.
I have to, don't I? There ain't no one else.
No, I don't suppose there is. I wish you'd let me explain what we're trying to do.
Save your breath, miss. It won't do no good.
You seem very sure of that.
He don't like it, see? He'd never let me.
Who?
Mr. Dunn. Jack, my husband. He don't hold with it.
With what?
Changing things. All them new ideas.
Our ideas aren't new, Maisie. Far from it.
People say they are.
People are wrong. Oh, help yourself to sugar.
Thank you, Miss Tarr.
Over 100 years ago, a woman called Mary Wollstonecraft said that we should have equal rights with men and fight for them if necessary. You tell your husband that, Maisie. They're not new ideas.
Didn't do much good, though, did it?
How do you mean?
Well, she said it all them years ago. Here we are today. Nothing changed.
But it started people thinking, do you see? People like Charlotte Bronte. You've heard of Charlotte Bronte?
No.
Oh, well, she was very famous. She wrote some wonderful books. Anyway, she said that both men and women should have the power and will to work for themselves. In other words, we should be independent, free to lead our own lives.
Easier said than done.
Maybe, but that doesn't make saying it less important.
Suppose not.
The point is, most women are brought up to believe that their only function in life is to marry and have children. We submit to men from the cradle to the grave, and that just isn't right.
It's the way things are, though.
Do you think it's right?
I never really thought about it.
Think about this, then. In 1869, an act was passed in Parliament called the Contagious Diseases Act. It was supposed to prevent the spread of syphilis and gonorrhea. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, well, this act gave the police the power to arrest any woman they suspected of being a prostitute and detain her in hospital. The fact that men can also spread these diseases was completely ignored. Women alone were held to be responsible. Do you think that's fair?
Of course not.
It was the law of the land, nevertheless.
What? Now?
No. The law's been changed. And it was changed because a woman, mark you, was brave enough to stand up and say it was wrong. She fought for what she believed in, Maisie, and that's what we've got to do. Men dominate us simply because we let them.
We're not all treated badly.
Most of us are.
You speak for yourself, miss. Mr. Dunn's always been a fair husband to me.
Not every slave owner treats his slaves like wild beasts, but that doesn't make slavery a good thing.
What do you mean, slaves?
John Stuart Mill wrote that in a book called The Subjection of Women.
Oh, this talk about books. Books don't change the world.
Some do.
Like what?
Anyway, things have changed, are changing.
I don't see much sign of it.
Laws have been passed. No, Maisie, it is important. There is now a law called the Married Women's Property Act, which says that wives have a legal right to their own earnings and property. It was passed because people are just beginning to realize that women aren't just things owned by their husbands.
What if you haven't got any property?
Well, that's just an example. There are plenty more. We're winning, Maisie. That's why we've got to fight even harder.
You're talking about people like yourself, miss, not me.
I'm talking about all of us.
Not the way I see it. It's different for working people.
Different? How?
Well, what good's a vote to someone like me? Won't feed the baby, will it?
All right, listen. Let me read you something. Now listen to this, Maisie. Anyone who wishes to better the position of her fellow workers and the thousands of women outside the ranks of the skilled cotton operatives who are being overworked and underpaid should remember that political enfranchisement, that's getting the vote, must precede industrial emancipation, better conditions, and that the political disabilities of women have done incalculable harm by cheapening their labor and lowering their position in the industrial world. That was written by the Lancashire textile workers as part of their manifesto. They wanted to do something about unfair wages. A skilled woman gets far less than an unskilled man. and they realized that the best way to do it was to get a vote and make MPs pay attention to them. In the past 60 years, the wages of working men have risen by 50 to 100%. The wages of women haven't changed at all. Do you think that's fair?
Of course not.
Well then, do something about it.
Like joining your suffragettes?
Yes, that's right. We're trying to help, Maisie. You must believe that.
I dare say you are. In your way.
What other way is there?
It's not that I'm against you, miss. You mustn't think that. Like I said, I wouldn't have had the nerve to do half the things your lot gets up to. Trouble is, you don't understand.
Understand what?
Things. Us. Me, our lives.
Of course we understand.
No. When I got married, I saved up for months to buy some curtains. We hadn't got any, you see, none at all. Pink they were, ever so pretty. I put them up in the afternoon. By the time we got to bed, they was covered in bugs. Jack had to take them down and put them in a bucket of water. Come out the woodwork they had. Come out the gaps. I bet you don't get many bugs in your bedroom.
That doesn't mean we can't work together.
It's different, see? You come along here with all your great plans and ideas, saying how important it is. It doesn't seem very important when you're wondering where the next meal's coming from.
But once you've got the vote, you can fight for better wages, for proper housing.
And how long will that take? 2 years? 6? I have to get 3 meals a day for 5 people.
Yes, yes, I understand that.
No. No, you don't. You may think you do, but you don't. Not really. If things get bad, you can walk out that door, get a cab and go home to roast beef and a nice warm fire. I can't. There's nowhere I can go. That's what you don't understand.
I'm trying to, Maisie.
And we're all very grateful, I'm sure.
I didn't mean to sound as if...
It's all right helping people who don't need it. That's easy.
What do you want me to do?
Nothing much you can do, miss. You are what you are, and I am what I am. That's all there is to it. Well, thanks for the tea.
Maisie, please.
I've got to get back.
Tomorrow, then.
What's the point? You are trying to help, I know that. But ideas aren't enough. Not when you're hungry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right, I was just...
Maisie, please come back tomorrow.
No, thanks. Well, good luck, anyway.
Who was that?
One of our neighbours.
Her shoes were worn right through. Did you see? Poor child. I wonder if she'd like a pair of mine.
I doubt it.
She might. Well, aren't you surprised to see me?
Well, yes, I suppose I am.
I come straight from HQ. I just had to tell you. I've got some great news.
Oh?
Is there any tea in that pot?
Well, there might be.
I'll get a cup. They say Mr. Lansbury's going to resign.
Mr. Lansbury? Our Mr. Lansbury?
Very same. Apparently, he said the Labour Party should vote against the government in every division until women's suffrage is introduced.
Oh, they'll never agree to that.
Of course they won't.
Well, he must realise that, surely.
No. The idea is that he'll resign from the Labour Party and stand as an independent candidate with votes for women as his main platform.
Good heavens.
And so, my dear Miss Pankhurst, it looks as if the humble constituency of Bromley and Bow is suddenly going to be rather important.
But is it all certain?
As good as.
Well, what do we have to do?
Oh, nothing at the moment. Mr. Lansbury's going to Boulogne to see your sister. Presumably, we'll hear more after that. It's quite a surprise, huh?
It's amazing.
Just think what it'll mean, Sylvia. If he wins, he'll be our MP. We'll be right in the center of things. Well, come on, then, smile. Look happy. My God, is that the best you can do?
I'm sorry.
What's the matter? Aren't you pleased?
Well, yes, of course I am.
Could have fooled me.
Suppose he doesn't win, though. What then?
Oh, why shouldn't he win? Mr. Lansbury's very popular.
Yes, but we're not.
Oh, we're not unpopular.
We are with the socialists.
Oh, don't be so pessimistic.
And don't forget, Lloyd George supported him in the last election. He certainly won't this time.
Who needs Lloyd George? We've got the whole movement behind us. I know we can win.
So much for Mr. Lansbury.
Well, the weather didn't help much. Never seen so much rain.
People always blame the weather. It's either too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry. He lost by 731 votes, Annie. And that means well over 1,000 people changed sides since the general election.
Yes, I know. They were all very upset. What did Christabel say? They all asked me.
Well, you can tell them that Christabel wants to know why. There must be a reason.
Well, there's several, I suppose.
Such as?
Well, for one thing, there wasn't enough cooperation between us and the Labour Lansbury people.
Well, whose fault was that?
Well, it was nobody's, really.
It must have been somebody.
We did, but they weren't all used.
Why not?
We didn't have a voters list.
Lansbury had one, surely.
Yes, but he said his agent wouldn't let us have it. He said all the cars must be sent through him.
Heaven's sake, why didn't Sylvia do something?
She did. She tried, I know. But it was too late.
Doesn't bear thinking about. I only hope and pray it doesn't do us too much harm.
Do you think it will?
It might. The East End's obviously a dead duck. We should never have gone there in the first place.
We're doing much better. Sylvia's very pleased.
They could scarcely have done any worse. If Lansbury had been elected, we could have pushed ahead at Bow. As it is, I see no point in continuing.
What about Sylvia?
Yes, I'll write to her. There's nothing more I can do.
She's worked very hard.
I'm sure she has, but that's beside the point.
I think it's a mistake to close down that branch completely.
We can't afford to keep it open. We haven't got the money, we haven't got the staff, and we can't afford to waste time and energy on a few hundred factory girls and dockers' wives.
They're just as important as the Kensington ladies. Even more so, there's more of them.
Who cares about numbers? It's power that matters.
I think you're making a mistake, Christabel, a bad one.
I'm sorry, Annie, but my mind's made up. We've got to go where there's real influence.
We suffragettes deserve better things than torture.
How dare you!
Heavens, I'm exhausted. 6 hours on my feet. My toes are quite numb.
Where were you?
Corner of Oxford Street and Tottenham Court Road.
That's a marvelous position. Here, have a toffee.
Oh, thanks.
How did you get on?
Very well. Sold almost a complete batch. I say, you know that newspaper seller with the wart?
With a what?
With a wart. He's got a wart in the side of his nose.
Oh, yes.
Well, he came to my rescue.
When?
This morning. Some dreadful man in a bowler hat came up and started saying the most filthy things.
Oh.
Prince Charming with the wart told them to get on out of it.
Oh, good for him. I wonder why they do it.
Do what?
Well, say such things, those men.
Ignorance. They've got nasty little minds.
I think it's because they're frightened.
Of us?
No, of what we're doing. You see, they like women to be meek and obedient. And when we start speaking our minds, they get frightened.
We'll have to get used to it.
No, we'll have to make them. Come on. I'll buy you a cup of tea.
Oh, that's just what I need. Thanks. Oh, don't forget your bag.
As I suppose many of you have heard, WSPU headquarters have announced that they intend to close the offices we've opened here in the East End. This is not because of Mr. Lansbury's defeat in the election. We worked hard, but we failed. But that wasn't your fault. We did all we could do no more. Our offices are being closed because the union has decided to concentrate their forces in other areas. This means that they can no longer support us as they have been doing over the past few months. This news came as a bitter disappointment to me. Our movement here is growing, and it's growing fast. To abandon our friends now seems an unworthy and foolish thing to do.
Good old Sylvia.
Last evening, I went to see Mrs. Pankhurst. I told her that I have the deepest faith in the women of Bow. I told her that I have no intention of giving up my work here, even if it means a complete break with the union. She listened most sympathetically and finally agreed that we should not abandon our campaign here in an atmosphere of defeat. And so, dear friends, we shall fight on. We shan't have the same financial support as before, and this means that we shall all have to make sacrifices. But I believe that any sacrifice is better than surrender. I also believe that the true heart of our movement beats here, in these narrow streets and wretched houses. It is the heartbeat of revolution. A revolution that strives for justice and equality for all men and women. We shall fight on, and we shall win. Votes for women now!
Official report of the Parliamentary Debates, House of Commons, April the 2nd, 1913. Mr. McKenna, the Secretary of State for the Home Department, proposed the second reading of the Prisoner's Temporary Discharge for Ill Health Bill. We have today, he said, to deal with an unprecedented set of circumstances. Our former laws we have found quite adequate in dealing with ordinary prisoners in the course of their imprisonment. But a new set of prisoners have come into prison who have taken up as a policy the practice of hunger striking. Mr. McKenna then reminded the House of the three courses open to the prison authorities in dealing with hunger strikes. We can either release the prisoner, he said, that is one course, or we can keep the prisoner in prison and forcibly feed the prisoner, and that is the second course, or we can place food in the prisoner's cell and leave the prisoner to die if the hunger strike is continued, and that is the third course. Mr. McKenna asked the House to give him power to use the alternative of release without remission of sentence. The procedure will be very simple, he said. I do not propose to ask the prisoner to sign any bond or to enter into any undertaking. When the prisoner's state of health becomes such, through starvation or other misconduct, that further detention in prison would be dangerous, he will receive a license and go out of prison. That license will be given on certain conditions, and as long as those conditions are fulfilled, the prisoner will not be liable to rearrest until the date on which the license expires. Objecting to the bill, Mr. McCurdy, member for Northampton, said that he believed it would do nothing to deter women's suffrage prisoners from hunger striking. He continued his attack by quoting from an article in the Lancet of 1912, which dealt with the practice of inserting a nasal tube. The nasal mucous membrane was frequently lacerated, as evidenced by bleeding of the nose and swallowing of blood from the back of the nose. Sometimes the tube had to be pushed up the nostrils 3 to 5 times before a passage could be forced. In several such cases, bleeding continued for some days. In one case, it recurred for 10 days. In another case, an abscess followed, with intense pain over the frontal region, which lasted for weeks after release. The danger of forcible feeding is increased by accidents liable to accompany the passage of tubes down the nose or throat. In several instances, the esophageal tube was passed into the larynx. Lord Robert Cecil also objected to the bill, saying that some other method should be found for dealing with suffragist prisoners. He continued, "Let us take the case of an ordinary militant prisoner, arrested, let us say, for window breaking. She is sent to prison, and she refuses food. The Home Secretary says that in such a case as that, he does not propose to resort to forcible feeding. We have to let her out again in 3 or 4 days at the outside. She will take a week to recover, and will break another window. Back she comes. What are you going to do then? Let her out again after 4 days, or resort to forcible feeding? If you resort to forcible feeding, you are just where you are now, and the bill is useless. If you let her out again, you reduce the criminal law to the most complete and abject contempt. This proposal will be represented with great truth as what is commonly called a cat-and-mouse proposal, namely, catching the women, then letting them go again. Honourable members asked, "What is your remedy?" Lord Robert Cecil replied, "My remedy is deportation." Mr. McKenna rose in his place and claimed to move that the bill be now read a second time. The bill was read a second time and sent to committee of the whole House for tomorrow, Thursday. The clerk at the table then informed the House of the unavoidable absence of Mr. Speaker from the remainder of the sitting, whereupon Mr. Whitley, the chairman of Ways and Means, proceeded to the table and took the chair as Deputy Speaker, pursuant to the standing order.
That was a marvellous meal.
Only very simple.
The chicken was delicious.
She always says that, bless her. It's only very simple.
Oh, dear Nurse Pine. She's been working so hard.
It's the least I could do.
Nothing's too much trouble.
So long as we get you well again.
You're looking much better.
That's the good food. Good country air. I'll soon get her right again.
You should have seen her when she came out of Holloway.
No, don't talk about it.
9 days without food. It's a wonder you're alive at all.
Take more than that to kill me off.
Tough bunch, the Pankhursts.
Well, yes, we are.
We need to be.
Yes, but it's you, most of all. You're the outright winner of the Ethel Smythe Challenge Cup.
What for?
Sticking to her guns no matter what.
Thank you, dear. Ethel's been so kind.
Oh, it's rubbish.
Oh, it's done me the power of good to get away from London.
Yes, I'm sure it has.
Only they'd let her alone. They won't, you know. Not for a moment. You do know that we've got detectives now lurking about outside.
Yes, I know, I've seen them.
I think it's disgraceful. That Mr. McKenna deserves to be horsewhipped.
Lady Pine, you're getting quite bloodthirsty.
I should think so, indeed.
It's the hypocrisy that amazes me. Behaving as they do and then off to church on Sunday. I don't know how they can bring themselves to do it.
Who?
Well, all of them. Policemen, politicians, doctors.
Torturers, not doctors. You know they fed Sylvia with a nasal tube.
Criminal, that's what I call it.
The worst thing is lying there when it's all over. The food's inside you, you know they've won.
I don't call that winning.
No. But they do.
You know, Mary Lee told me she tries to be seasick.
Oh? Seasick?
She tries to imagine that she's in a boat on a rough sea. Usually works in the end.
You could always put your fingers down your throat.
Oh, yes, I know. I've tried. I've done everything.
Yes, I'm sure you have. getting rather pale, you know. You'll have to be careful.
Poor girl. I scarcely recognized her when she came to Pembridge Gardens.
Thank God for Mouse Castle.
White face, bloodshot eyes, as thin as a rake. I could scarcely believe it.
Let's have some more coffee. Hmm?
Oh, yes, let's.
You know, Keir Hardy told McKenna.
Oh, quite right, too.
Told him what?
About me. McKenna didn't turn a hair. Sylvia's a plucky girl, he said.
That man's a brute.
They're all brutes. Some worse than others. You heard what happened to Lillian Lenton?
No.
They passed the tube into her trachea by mistake, and the food poured into her lungs.
Don't. How ghastly.
She nearly died.
I'm surprised she didn't.
Pleuropneumonia, temperature of 102.
Coffee.
Thank you, dear.
Well, at least this wretched act will put a stop to all that.
I hope so.
Oh, it's just as cruel.
Worse, in some ways.
It's a savage act. I mean,
Coffee.
you never know when they're going to snatch you back again. It's like being an exile in your own country.
Pine, coffee?
Please.
Well, they knew what they were doing when they called it the Cat and Mouse Act. That certainly hit the nail right on the head.
Your mother's not free to do anything.
No, except go back to prison when the license expires.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Oh, it's idiotic. I mean, can you imagine anyone trotting up to Holloway of their own free will?
Knock, knock, knock. Can I come in, please?
Yes, it won't work. It can't.
Oh, well, that won't stop them trying.
They'll try anything these days.
What more can they do?
Don't worry, Pine. They'll think of something.
Oh, may I have the sugar, please?
Oh, me too.
Sorry. Ah.
Oh, it's
Sylvie.
here.
Ah, there we are. You had it.
Thanks. Oh, Sylvia's quite right. It's idiotic. Thank you, darling. I mean, I was working it out this morning. If they keep shuttling me in and out of prison, it'll be 1930 before I finish my sentence.
Oh, my God, I'll be 72.
In and out for the next 17 years. I can't help thinking they'll give up before I do.
Yes. Something's bound to happen.
Perhaps Mr. McKenna will fall down and break his neck.
Yes. Is that a car?
Oh, is it?
Oh, I think so.
It can't be the taxi already. What time is it?
Almost 1:30.
Oh, no.
Oh, good heavens.
Time's flown.
Now, come on. Sit down. Drink your coffee. I'll tell the driver you're coming. Fine.
I'll get you cake.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down, my dear. I did enjoy it.
So did I. Do take care of yourself. I worry about you.
And I worry about you. Going off to those dreadful slums.
Don't let's argue about that now.
No. Sylvia. Try and understand Christabel. We mustn't split up.
I have my own work to do.
Yes. God bless you.
Mr. Markham says we can have the Bromley Public Hall on either the 15th or the 21st.
Oh. Well, let's have a look. Well, it'd better be the 15th, I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You'll have to organise a working party.
Mrs. Brewster, Miss Savage and Mrs. Dunstan.
Have you asked them?
They're all ready and willing.
Good. That's splendid. Well, you better order some more pamphlets, by the way. We're getting a bit short.
How many?
Well, just a gross, I think. We can't afford any more. Who's Mrs. Dunstan?
Betty Dunstan. She works down the jam factory.
Dunstan.
Well, she only joined last month, keen as mustard.
Do you know a girl called Maisie Dunn?
Maisie Dunn? Well, I don't think so.
She came here to see me once.
When?
Some time ago now, I've forgotten. Just walked in one evening.
Like I did.
Yes, only she didn't come back. I thought she would.
Never heard of her.
Ask your friends, Melvina. See if you can find out where she lives.
Right, I'll ask.
Good afternoon, Miss Davis. Good afternoon. Can I help you? Oh, yes, please. I would like 2 large flags. Without poles. Oh.
We don't.
What do you want them for exactly? Oh, well, perhaps I'd better not ask. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Miss Davison, I don't suppose you remember...
Holiday.
Yes, that's right.
We met at the office.
And in Holloway.
We did.
What a splendid bazaar.
Yes, isn't it?
I'm so pleased you've come, Miss Davison. I was hoping I might bump into you.
Oh, why?
Well, I have a favor to ask, if you don't mind.
Of course not.
Well, I do a bit of journalism, you see, and I'd very much like to write an article about you.
About me?
If you don't mind.
I'm afraid I'm not a very interesting person.
Oh, but you are. Just look at all those articles that have been written about Captain Scott. He was brave, I know, but he was no braver than you.
It's very kind of you to say so.
If only I had your courage, Miss Davison.
My strength comes from God. I'm only fulfilling his commands.
Well, yes, I suppose we all are, in a way.
I feel the influence very strongly. I never act without it.
Perhaps we could talk about it when you have time.
If you wish.
When would be best for you? This week or next?
Next week would be better. This week is rather full.
Oh, it is for me, too. I'm going to the Derby tomorrow, selling the Suffragettes. I'm quite looking forward to it. Perhaps I could come on Tuesday. Tuesday morning? How would that be?
I think we'd better confirm it later.
Right. Well, au revoir, Miss Davison. Thank you very much.
Bye, Polly, dear.
I didn't see her until the end of the third race. She was standing by the rails at Tattenham Corner. I was so surprised. She seemed out of place somehow, as if she wasn't really there. What was she doing? I couldn't imagine. Just before the race started, she lifted something to her face. A card or a newspaper. I thought perhaps the sun was in her eyes. Her hand was so steady. She seemed to be smiling. The race began. Everybody was shouting. I couldn't take my eyes off her. She didn't move. She was still smiling.
The horses got closer. Suddenly, she waved our flag. I saw her lips move. She was shouting. I couldn't hear what. She ducked under the rails. She ran onto the race course. The horse stumbled. The jockey was thrown. There was a terrible silence. A man snatched the paper I was holding and beat it across my face. I started running. People followed me. Stop that suffragette. I ran faster than I'd ever run in my life before. I reached the down station. I begged a porter to help me. He told me to hide in the lavatory. Men were still running after me. He told them I'd jumped onto a train. They left. I went home. I cried all night. I couldn't stop crying.
They must be proud of her. She wouldn't want tears. May God forgive those parsons who refused her body. So much for Christian charity.
Thy way, not mine, O Lord, however dark it be, lead me by thine own hand, choose out the path for me. Smooth let it be or rough, it will be still the best. Winding or straight it leads, right onward to thy rest. I dare not choose my lot, I would not if I might. Choose thou for me, my God, so shall I walk aright. The kingdom that I seek is thine, so let the way that leads to it be thine, else I must surely stray. Take thou my cup and it with joy or sorrow fill, as best to thee may seem. Choose thou my good and ill. Choose thou for me, my friends, my sickness or my health. Choose thou my cares for me, my poverty or wealth. Not mine the choice in things or great or small. Be thou my guide, my strength, my wisdom and my all. Amen.
Yeah, that's all right. That'll be lovely. Lovely. Oh, put 'em over here.
Over here, girl, and mind that paint. Look at you. Green hands, green face.
Now, who's got the pamphlets?
Oh, I have, Mrs. Walker. We'll put them somewhere safe. We don't want them all covered in paint, do we?
Oh, who's put 2 E's in Wedgwood?
Oh, it must have been me. Sorry. Oh,
Heavens above, girl, we wrote it out specially. What do you think we did that for?
Excuse me.
No, you'll have to do it again.
what a waste of time and paint. We can't afford either.
Miss Pankhurst?
No, Mrs. Walker.
Is Miss Pankhurst here, please?
Very busy.
I'd like to see her.
I told you she's busy. What's it all about?
Well, my wife came to see her.
Come here, you mean?
I want to talk to her, that's all. I won't keep her long.
All right, then. She's out the back.
Oh, let me do that. You'll only hit your thumb again.
sorry.
I'm sorry to bother you, miss. My name's Dunn. Jack Dunn. And Maisie's husband. She came to see you once.
Maisie? Oh, Maisie Dunn. Oh, yes, yes. Sorry, just a minute. We've got a big meeting on the 29th. Excuse the mess. How nice to meet you, Mr. Dunn. Is Maisie well?
She died, miss.
Died?
Yeah, last autumn it was, some time ago now. I meant to come round. I just didn't, you know.
I'm so very sorry.
Yeah. She was a good girl. Always on the go. Worked her fingers to the bone.
Well, what happened? Was she ill? You should have told me, Mr. Dunn.
No, she weren't ill. One of them brewery wagons come down here like a dreadnought. Broke loose. She didn't know nothing. It's all over in the flesh.
I am sorry.
Yeah. Mind you, she'd have laughed about it. Seeing as it was a brewery wagon. She never touched a drop, see? She said her old dad died of it.
Is there anything I can do?
No, thanks.
How are you managing with the children?
Oh, not too bad, Tara. Her mum comes round most days.
I really am very sorry.
Yeah, well. I was just passing, see? I thought you'd want to know. It's all very colourful, eh? She'll make quite a show. She thought a lot of you, miss. She was very impressed.
I only saw her once.
Twice. Don't forget Holloway.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. She reckoned you was something special. She often talked about it, what you said and that.
She should have come back.
Come back?
She should have joined us.
Oh, no, she wouldn't do that.
Why not? A bright girl like that, she'd have been very useful.
Oh, she was bright, no mistake. She never had a chance, though. That's the trouble.
Yes, well, it's a pity you didn't let her.
Let her what?
Join us.
Me?
She told me all about it. She told me you didn't approve.
Well, it had nothing to do with me.
What do you mean?
Well, I say it was her. She said she weren't the type you wanted.
Not the type?
Well, since she couldn't read.
She thought we didn't want her.
Well, I told her. I said to her, that's the way things are. I said, don't bother about it. It wasn't her fault she couldn't read.
But you should have made her come back.
How could I?
But you could have told her not to be so silly. Why on earth didn't you?
It wasn't up to me.
Well, of course it was.
Well, anyway, how was I to know?
Know what?
Well, she might have been right.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Mr. Dunn.
Well, how was I to know?
You could have asked, couldn't you? You could have come here and asked. You got a tongue in your head.
Well, come here?
Didn't think of that, did you?
Ah, of course not. It's got nothing to do with me.
No, I suppose you thought it didn't matter. A whole bunch of women. It can't be important. Well, let me tell you, Mr. Dunn, it is important. It's a damn sight more important than you'll ever realize. I see you think that's funny.
No, not funny.
What then?
You're angry, aren't you?
Yes, very.
Good. I'm glad.
Glad I'm angry?
Yeah. I've had enough of smiling faces. We get your lot coming round doing good works.
What do you mean, my lot?
No, you know. They come round here being so kind and gracious. Kick them in the teeth and they'd smile. The only thing they can't do is treat us like people. I'd sooner be hungry than pitied. She said you was different. She was right.
I'm glad you think so.
Yeah, well, I'll be off then. There you go on with it.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Dunn. Please look in whenever you're passing.
All right. I will. If there's anything I can do...
Like what?
Well, anything. I'm good with my hands.
I thought Maisie said you had a bad back.
Now, go over there. Well, it's still not right, but it's much better, Tom.
Well, in that case, perhaps you'd like to shift some of those placards for me.
What now?
If you don't mind.
Where do you want them?
In the office, please. They have to be painted.
Right. That lot there?
Yes. I meant what I said, Mr. Dunn. It is important. Not just for women, for all of us. We're fighting for a new world. Please help us.
that are weary, days that are dreary.